Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Ask Ira Job Seeker Q&A. My name is Ira Bowman. I am the owner of Project Help You Grow and Bowman Digital Media. And it is my pleasure each and every Wednesday to come to you live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and to answer questions that you have related to the job search. And I also, as an extra bonus, provide free LinkedIn profile reviews to help give you some suggestions on what you can do to help catch the attention of recruiters or employers as they come to your profile on LinkedIn. You want to make sure that you are getting their attention. It isn't enough just to have a LinkedIn profile. There are things that you need to do to help attract their attention to kind of verify that you are what you're representing on the job application or in your CV or in your resume, but also just to make it kind of visually interesting so they don't fall asleep and go away. I mean, it sounds weird, but when I walk through it, you'll get it. You'll be like, oh, yeah, that could make a big difference. And one of the big things on LinkedIn a lot of job seekers just aren't doing is they're not even making sure that the profile photo is visible to people they're not connected with. You are not connected to most employers or most recruiters on LinkedIn. So, one way that you can help elevate your chance of getting an interview right off the bat is go in and change your settings. Make sure that they're open to people that you're not connected to. That's not the default on LinkedIn, believe it or not. The default is privacy, a lot of privacy, and that can hurt you when trying to reach out to people who don't know you. Now, hang on a second. I have to kick somebody out right now. This is not welcome here, right? This is not welcome on anything I do. If you have anything to do with pornography at all, just leave because you're not welcome here. Most people are welcome, but that is certainly not. So I'll make sure to block you from my channel later. But if you want, that's the last time any of your stuff is going to be seen ever on anything related with Ira or Bowman Digital Media or Project Help You Grow. We are family friendly folks here. God is something that I don't take lightly. It's someone that I am trying to honor with my life. There we go. Public service announcement right off the bat. Now let's get to people who are actually here for good reasons. Let's see. Darshan, welcome. And you're interested. Are you interested in what? The help getting a job? If you are, let me know your question. The questions, it doesn't cost anything. This show is completely free. So you can ask any question you like. People say, Ira, what can I ask about? Great question there. You can ask about anything you like. CV length, what should be included in a resume, when should I use a CV or a resume? Do I need a cover letter? What is this thing with the ATS? How does it work? What about keyword stuffing? Or when someone says I need to augment or revise my resume for every single job submission, what does that mean? Why do we do that? You might be asking me about ageism is one I get quite a bit of, right? How do I counteract ageism, which is a form of discrimination if you're not familiar with it based on age? You could ask me about informational interviews, how to get referrals, what should I be doing on social media to garner attention? How can I set up my profile? All those things. So that is the kind of stuff that you can ask. Now, Joy from Ghana is very smart. Here's what she said. She said, Ira, I'm interested in getting a job and a review of my LinkedIn. Well, I can help you do the LinkedIn review right now. Getting a job, that's why you watch the show. There's all kinds of content that will come out. I talk each and every week. I usually bring one aspect of the job search forward each and every week, but I answer questions first. I am here. This is not a promotion for anything about me, anything about Project Help You Grow. Project Help You Grow is just a resource that I make available to everybody around the world for free because I want to help job seekers. So if you have a question, I'd be happy to answer it. I do point a lot to Project Help You Grow because I write a lot of content that answers these questions. That's the whole goal, is to bring job seekers together with recruiters and employers. Wherever you are, wherever you want to be, I try to bring you all together so that you can get a job with them directly. That's the goal. So let me do this, Joy. I'm going to open up another expression of the internet here, and I got to share my screen because I haven't done that yet today. And then I'll be able to do a free profile review for you. Now, as you guys are watching this, And if you want a profile review, just let me know. I've already had the second person ask. Keith, I see you there. I'll get you second. Okay, so here's how we do it. All right. So Joy said, interested in getting a job. If you have a question about the job search, let me know. Usually, what I ask people when they tell me they're having trouble finding a job, but they don't know why, is tell me where in the process you're getting stuck. Are you getting interviews, for example, right? So if you're reading these job descriptions and you're like, "Ooh, I want to work there," and you apply and you're not hearing anything back, that's a clue as to where you need help, right? If you're getting the interviews, not getting offered the job, or if you're getting offered the job but it's not the salary that you need, right? There's different levels and different steps where you get stuck. I can help you with advice to get you past that point. I just need to know where in the process you're getting stuck. Because a lot of people are getting stuck with the interview. They're not getting the interview because there's some problems with the information that they're submitting, um, namely in the form of keywords usually, but sometimes it's formatting issues with the ATS, and sometimes it's because they're really not qualified. Because at different points in history, you could apply for jobs and we would consider them, or we call them in the HR industry, we call that a stretch job, where you go like, I know I could do it, but right now I'm not qualified. Okay, so not getting the interviews. This is what I'm talking about, right? It's not necessarily that you need a lower position, although it could be. So stick with me here because we're going to spend some time on you today, Joy. I like you because you are engaging, you're interactive. So I'm going to do quite a bit to help you here today. Hello, June, my friend. I hope you are doing well. And hello, Miss Erica Waters from Australia. I'm glad to see you here in the audience too. And we're right now getting ready to do a profile review for Joy. So if you're watching this, just consider some of the things I'm saying to her because I would say the same things for you. Now, I love Joy. Right here, you have account executive and entrepreneur up in the left. You might see the problem that I have with it, though. It's just the formatting needs to be adjusted just a tad because when you look at the picture by itself, it's not your profile photo is not in the way. But as you can see right now, it is in the way. And so you want to just tweak the size, just shrink that text size, font size down, or reposition it a little higher, or move it over to the center. Actually, would be my recommendation with this. Put account executive entrepreneur here in the center, and you might even want to say available for hire right here. Now, we call this the cover photo. The cover photo is static image. It's not dynamic. What does that mean? That means nobody's going to be able to scan it for content. So you're not getting any keyword pickups with what you write here. This is just visual, but this lets people know as soon as they come to your profile what it is you do or what it is you're looking for. And because you're looking for a job, I would tell people right there, I'm available for hire, open to the right opportunity. You could say it like that. There's a few different coins of phrase that you could turn here, but the idea is let them know you're available for the right opportunity. And if you're willing to relocate, that's another thing that you might want to put because now you're in Ghana. For everybody who's not familiar, right? We're Western Africa. Maybe you're willing to relocate over to Nigeria or down to South Africa or over to the United States or wherever. You might want to put that too. Like, hey, I am available to relocate for the right position. That it's good to know. Some people don't want to move, right? They're happy in the city that they're in or the state or the country, wherever they are, their location, they're happy there and they want to find something there. The other thing that you might want to put if you're open to it is available for remote work anywhere. Because that's another thing. Now with COVID has really kind of changed the game. There's far more remote opportunities than ever before. And as an account executive, you might be able to do some of that work pretty easily remotely from where you are. And there you go. All right. So love that you have your name here. Absolutely love it. Again, artistically, this is aesthetically pleasing and it's way better than having nothing. Okay. So you're doing really good. I do like this profile picture. I would actually suggest use the same one and zoom in a little bit so that your face is a little bit easier to see. And the reason why you want to do that is because when you meet with people, whether you meet with them on Zoom or you meet with them in person, you want them to recognize you. This is really psychology here. But what I'm trying to do is make a connection between you and the person you're going to be talking to so they feel more comfortable right out of the gate. Your smile, your look, everything, you're looking at the camera, everything is great. Everything is great. It's just zoom back a little bit too far, in my opinion. I would recommend that you zoom in just a little bit. When people ask me, how much do you want to zoom in? Well, you can kind of see my picture right here. What I say is shoulders and head, right? So zoom in past, you know, the lower part there, just zoom in. You're gonna have to reposition it a little bit, but zoom in. But again, if you don't change it, it's not bad. Again, this is really good. I would say this is like 8 out of 10. And if you were to zoom in a little bit, it could be a 10 out of 10. That's kind of the difference. Same thing here, right? If you make this difference so that we can read word. Now I know that says entrepreneur because I recognize the word. But a lot of people aren't going to recognize that word because entrepreneur is not something that they're familiar with. Now you do have it down here in your heading, right? So this is called your heading. We'll get to that in a second. So that's good, right? But right here, they may not look here. You want them to, but they might not, right? So get this part readable by either swapping it over into the center or just shrinking this down. And the other thing that you could do, you've got account executive, you've got space, space, space. What you could do is take the executive and swap it up here on just to the right of account. So I have account executive on one line, and that would pull this up one line, and that would be perfect because we can read the whole executive and without any issue, right? So there's a couple suggestions for you. Now, the heading you have correct, but you don't have enough there. Here's what the heading really can help you with. A lot of people have the default, which is the title and the company they work for. You don't have that. So you're a step ahead of most people on all three things. Your your cover image is good, your profile photo is good, your heading is good, but they can all be a little bit better. That will help you. Now, if you're not getting interviews, one of the reasons why you don't get interviews is because the people who are not finding you that you're applying to are not finding you in part because you don't have enough keywords here in this heading to help them find you. Like right now, you would come up if somebody searches accountant and you would come up if someone puts in the word social or entrepreneur or both. Okay. So there's three things you would come up, no doubt. Now there's other things down below that you will come up for too. But if you want to increase your chance of not only coming up, but coming up at the top of the list, the heading is one of the most important spots that you want to populate on all of your LinkedIn profile. Okay. So put here more words. What words? If somebody was going to search, now they didn't know Joy, but they were looking for somebody who does what Joy does, what words would they put in here in the search bar? Those are the words that I want you to put here in your heading. Okay. So what else do you do? Now I could tell you what you do because I could just come down here and read it. Right. And then I'll help you figure out what to populate. So let's just look real quick. We got business owner. Now, there's not a lot of people looking for business owners that are looking to hire. So let me give you some advice here. This may not be what you want to leave as your title. If you're looking for a job, it's kind of a red flag for a lot of HR folks, a lot of hiring managers, a lot of companies don't want to hire business owners. Why? Because they're afraid that you're going to get bored and want more and go back out on your own. You're a flight risk. Okay. So if there's any way to make this like franchise owner or something other than business owner, that might be better. You and I might have to have a conversation for me to give you a better thing to switch this to your title. But I'm going to tell you that business owner can scare people away. And that's why it isn't that they're mad about your experience. They're happy with that. They're just afraid that you have a higher ambition than what that job is ever going to afford, right? And so you become a flight risk when you get bored and you want more. Okay. General business manager is good. You could put up here in your header, general manager, right? Operations, things like that. I can already see it. You might put sales, finance admin manager. So finance and admin. Okay. That's even better. So you've got a lot of good experience here. Okay. So you've got a sales rep, you've been an accountant, you've worked with money, you've been an admin manager, right? So you could put all this stuff. Okay. You could put office manager, operations, general manager, GM, accounting, accountant, sales, account executive. You see what I'm saying? You've got all these words. Now, which ones should you pick? Because there's a variety of titles there. You don't want to pick them all. The question that you have to ask yourself, Joy, here is this: I'm looking moving forward to do these things. So I want to be found for these things. And then focus on that world, right? Here's what I mean. Let's say you want to focus on the accountant, the bookkeeping, the operations, not the sales, not the right. Okay. So you want to be in the admin team for a company. So then you want to put admin, administration, general manager, operations, accounting, bookkeeping. Those are the ones that I would put. Okay. And there might be some more off the top of my head I'm not thinking of. Look, I don't plan this, guys. This is all off the cuff. Okay. Joy wrote in, and here we are. All right. So that's the kind of stuff that I would change. Again, I would do all of this in the header, which is just goes right here underneath your name. Okay. So accountant, social entrepreneur, and then uh, I actually might take social entrepreneur out. Again, we'd have to have a conversation. I made an assumption here that you want to go like, for operations and accounting, in that level, either C-suite or department manager, division head, something like that, right? Entrepreneur doesn't fit that. Again, if you want to be a business owner and you want to be found by prospects or clients like I do, my header is completely different because I'm not looking for a job. You see what I mean? And that's the difference. You have to understand what it is you're trying to accomplish here so that you can accomplish it. Okay. Now, the other thing that I'm going to say is a lot of people make this mistake in the about section. I'm not talking to Joy specifically, I'm talking to everybody here. About is not rehashing your history because that is found readily down below, and you don't need to have things redundant. You don't need a redundancy of things 3, 4, 5. You don't need to say it 5 times. Like, people aren't that dumb. We get it, right? You write it. We see your job experience. We see it in the description. And then we see your education, and we get it. Look how fast I could pick up on what you're doing, right? So the about section is this. The about section is, here's where I am today, and cast a vision into the future, right? 5 years, 10 years. You're going to get asked that a lot of times in an interview. Tell me about your 5-year plan. Tell me about your 10-year plan. What do people want to know? They want to know you're passionate about something. So in the about section, paint us a picture and share with us a little bit of your passion. I love photography, guys. Anybody who spends about 5 minutes or more with me is going to hear something about a picture, see something about a picture. It is what's going to happen. So in my about section, I'm going to talk about photography a little bit, right? Not all of it, but that's what they want to hear. They want to hear that you're going to be working more than 5 years. They want to hear that you have some ambitions, and they want to see some passion, some life out of you. Why? Because that's how they know you have energy. You're going to bring energy to the table to accomplish your job, to be good at your job, because you have something bigger than the job that you're working towards accomplishing, right? I don't do anything halfway. I have 8 kids, right? My wife is like, 8 is enough. And I'd like to strive for 9. But I always get the work gets done because part of my mission is to provide for my family, and I've got, a lot to provide for. So I have to put in this effort, right? When I interview with people and we talk about that, we never have to talk about my commitment level, right? Because you're not going to have 8 kids usually, especially with my wife and I've been married now 22 years. It takes a lot to stay together, right? It takes a lot. It's a lot to stay together. It's a lot to provide for all those mouths. Like, that's commitment. You know what I mean? So that's what your employer or your future or potential employer wants to see from you. They want to see that you're able to make commitment, that you have passion, fire in your belly. They want to know what gets you excited, right? And they want to hear it's something other than do a good job and be the best, blah, blah, blah I could be, right? Like, that's not a real answer. There are things that get you out of bed in the morning. Like I said, for me, I love creating things. I love photography. I don't know what it is I love about it so much because I haven't been doing it all that long. Like I've shared earlier, it's the thing I've been really doing the least amount of time. But It's something I never knew I was gonna love, and when I found out I loved it all the way. So there you go. All right, my wife says she loves that I'm helping people. She's like, "You could help me more." That's just that's just the truth. My wife is a hardworking son of a gun. All right, let's go. Interested in getting a remote job. Uh, somebody said they wanted a. Oh, it was a key. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm coming to you next, Joy. I hope that was a help. I could probably do quite a bit more, but I want to make sure that we're helping everybody. So we're going to move on here. And if you have any questions, follow up questions, by all means, feel free to ask. All right. So Keith said, "Can you look at my profile?" Yes, I can. Now, this is interesting, okay, because you have something on here, but it's been covered up. So I don't know if you like when you guys put these cover photos up, you pick things usually on Canva and you drag them over, which is fine. Canva's a great tool, but you got to consider where it's going and how it actually is used. Because, like right here, look, your face is covering up his face. Now, what's interesting about this to me, and this might have been on purpose, I'm not sure, because you're either really a genius or it's a happy accident. And it almost doesn't matter because I am a graphic designer. I think this is brilliant, right? You're looking at the thing, the way it displays, you're looking at the thing that you're saying. Now, here's why I think it's an accident, because you're not letting us read the whole thing, right? Innovation comes from, the from is cut off. People who take joy in their work, but then you're cutting off the W. Edwards Deming and you're cutting off his face. Again, if I'm going to execute this, I think what you did is really good, but I think I would shrink it down. Now, here's what I love about it. From a graphic artist standpoint, right? That's my world. Graphic designer, digital media, all this stuff, right? I love it. It's visually interesting. But here's the problem. It doesn't tell me a dang thing about what you're doing, what you're looking for, what your aspirations are, what your hopes are, where you're at, any of it. Doesn't give me anything. So, are we here to entertain the people who come? Sometimes some people are. I am. That's one of my stated goals in life is to entertain people, make them smile. I love to make people laugh. I love to make people smile. I do it at my own expense a lot, and then usually at my family's expense the rest of the time. But that's only because I'm mentally unstable sometimes. There we go. All right. But in this case, if you're looking for a job, right? If the job, finding the job is the main thing, let's make the main thing the main thing. And let's flip off this and put on something that will explain what it is that you're looking for. So just looking down, you're an integrated management system controller, management representative. Okay. Here's a really big problem. You're in a place, as you know, in the UAE where you got to be a little bit more serious than most of the rest of the world. UAE, Dubai, that area is it's intense, right? So what I would suggest you do is maybe look at Talal or Sohib Hansen. Look at the way they've got their profiles set up and kind of mimic them. But here's what I'm going to suggest. So I'm going to show Joy just as an example. I would kind of do something more like this with what Joy's got. And again, follow what I was talking about with her. Make this thing that you're looking for be the center point, and then add, as I explained to her, open. Now, so your management, this is a little bit different, and you're in the UAE. So what you're going to want to do, I think, is you're going to want to keep it a little bit more, what's the right way to say this? Conservative in their approach, right? Straightforward. So I actually like the black and white motif that you have going on here, but I would put manager available for the right position in the UAE, because I don't think that you want to relocate. And so I would make that clear. You might even want to use the UAE colors, right? Like you could have the flag. Now, here's where a lot of people don't do this with cover photos, but it's something that can be done very easily, is change your transparency settings on some of the background images and then write the message in full color. So that gives it some extra pop. But I think if I were you, I kind of like the black and white motif just because it's elegant, right? Black tie affair kind of a thing. But on here, I would definitely swap this photo out. Again, from an artistic point of view, I think it's pretty creative because you're looking at what it's saying, and then you've got his head overlapping your head, but you're still letting us see half his face so we can see into his persona, if you will. Like I said, very well done from an artistic standpoint, just not good for job seeking. All right. Hang on. I got some comments. I just want to see if you are responding. Nope. But Joy was saying, got it. And thank you. And you are very welcome, Joy. You seem like a very nice person. So I'm happy to help nice people. I'm happy to help everybody, but it's nicer. It does feel good when you're helping people who it feels like they're appreciative that you're helping them too, right? All right. So let's keep going. Now, on your headline, you've actually done this is the one part that you did a little bit better than Joy because you've got a little bit more here for keywords, but you do have a redundancy. You have management. You don't necessarily need it twice. This isn't a sentence. This is about keyword pickups. And most people don't think about it this way because, frankly, they don't understand how search engine optimization works. But I'm telling you, as an SEO guy, this is crucially important. So instead of having management and management, change one of those to manager or managing, manages, right? Don't have the same exact word. You can have management in 3 different forms: manager, manages, managing, management, 4 different forms. And that's good. That's very good because it's keyword pickups, right? Some people will search for manager. Some people will search for management. So you want to have both, right? If I was going to drop one, I would drop manages and managing. I would definitely have manager and management. Okay. Now, the other thing, you guys like your acronyms. So make sure you're using your industry acronyms just in case they're searching acronyms. And for those of you not familiar with acronyms, that's the abbreviation with the first letter of each word. So like, if SEO is the acronym for search engine optimization. Okay. So make sure you're using your acronyms, but also spell it out. You've got to do both. Where you have common, like when I'm trying to be discovered for search engine optimization or SEO, I try to use both as often as I can because I never know how the person searching for it is going to type it in the search bar. That's ultimately what you need, right? Hope that helps. All right. So let's see what we got here. About section. Holy moly. All right. This is going to be your thing. We're going to go to this. I'm going to make this bigger. Now, the problem that we have here is all you've really done, I think, and I'll have to review this to be sure just down below. But what you've done here is given us a regurgitation of your work experience. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that these certs aren't important. You and I both know these certs are very important. But I'm going to show you where to put them that will be better than the about section. Okay. Because this honestly is going to put everybody to sleep. Like as boring as can be. Nobody wants to read this. So what I'm going to tell you to do, I kind of like this. But instead of using dashes, go in and find. Do you guys know how to do this? You hit like oh my gosh. I just had a brain freeze. But you can use emojis. So like if you have to, you can open up Word, but there's an easy way to do it. I want to say it's the window screen and the period button. Google it. Okay. Google how to pop up emojis on your computer. It'll come right up if you Google it. But what I want you to do is change that. So I like to use either like the firecracker one or the check mark one. There's a few different ones that I like to use. Diamond, red diamond. It just makes it a little bit more visually interesting. What's interesting about it as a creative graphics guy is it's not considered graphics. It's still considered text only. So you can do this in anything that has text, but it just brightens it up. It makes it easier to read. So your organization is not horrible. The problem is just a lot. And these numbers, people's eyes glide, they'll glaze over. Even though this 9,001, you and I both know that's not a big deal, right? As far as numbers, this is just your industry standard numbers. So people in your field will get it. But the problem is that the recruiter, the HR person may not be in your field. You don't want them to lose interest in you. So here's what you want to do instead. You've got this feature section, and you've already done it. So you've already got them in here. Add them all. Add all of them. And if you don't have them all, just type up a form, a Word doc, simple Word doc, type it up, put them all in there, and then add it in your featured section because you've got this correct. This is cool. Okay. Now, here's the other thing that I want you to do before this. This is where you can make a lot of hay. Go on to Zoom by yourself, record yourself in a video, just an introduction video, 90 seconds, 180 seconds. It's 3 minutes tops. Tell us who you are, where you're from. Give me that about section that I was talking about with Joy. Here's where I am. Here's what I'm looking forward to in the next 5 to 10 years. And here's what I'm passionate about. Here's what's going to happen when you do that. When you create that, then I want you to save the video, right? And then post it as a post and then feature it. Okay. Feature it right there in the very first spot. That's going to be your first spot, that video, that intro video. Here's why. You have a lot of technical stuff behind it to support how awesome you are at this resource management. Okay. So you have given a lot of, what am I trying to say here? You have provided ample support for your claim that you are qualified for this job. That part you've got down. The part that you're not doing here is the rapport building part, the personal part, right? And I kind of get it, but I'm telling you, this will help you. So keep it professional. You want to be wearing, professional clothes. Get your face, most of your face, just have most of your face. Don't have an unprofessional background behind you, right? Doesn't have to be fancy production, right? But just like you're on a virtual interview. But all you're doing is you're telling people who you are, where you're from, what you want to do, paint that vision of the 5, 10 years, and then let them know a little bit about what you're passionate about. What that's going to do is it's going to answer a lot of their questions about how you're going to fit in the culture of their company, because that's what you're not answering here. It's also going to make it more friendly and help you establish a rapport that's going to skyrocket you over just about everybody else. So, just to rehash what I am suggesting for you, we do need to make a change. Even though I like this cover photo, I don't like it for what you're trying to accomplish. We want to add a few more words here and change for keyword pickup. We want to redo the about section to follow the format that I stated for the video. So really, the about section could basically be the script for the video that you would put right here in the first spot of the featured section, and then just take all this, copy it, paste it into Word, save it as a PDF or whatever you want to do, and then slap it in this stack too. Because you've got pictures of some, maybe you don't have pictures of them all. If you have pictures of them all, I would put them all here. This doesn't hurt you, man. This is really good. This part is helpful. The other thing that you could do, just because you have so many of them, you could go in and make it like a PowerPoint slide deck and then just have it be one, or a PDF slide deck would work. It's multi-page PDF. You can have multi-page PDF files here too. So you could do that just to make it easier. But certainly you've got a lot of certs, and that's good. And now I'm assuming you have them down below too. Yeah, you do. Cool. Okay, so you've done that right. You got a lot right here, and Keith, you've done a very good job. Um, this is something a lot of people don't think about too. The skills. I will tell you from a recruiter's point of view, they're not really looking at these. Okay. So how can you use these to maximize benefit for you? Well, you can use them a lot of the same way that I was talking about using the header. So words that you can't fit here because you're space limited to 200 characters, then you can go, okay, I'm going to pick them up down here. So what I tell people when you're reviewing these, you can have up to 50. So have all 50. Okay. But what you want to do is just comb through your list and let's see if there's any that maybe we don't really need. MATLAB, ISO, Minitab. Yeah, you've done a good job. AutoCAD, ISO, SolidWorks. These are good. These are good. These are good. These are good. Okay, Microsoft Excel. You could probably, well, you passed the skill assessment, so there's some value there. I would say of all the ones you might want to get rid of this one here, but anyways, here's the idea. So you've got 36. You can have at least 14 more. You can add 14 more. Just what's missing that people would search for up in the search bar. Okay. But you've done a pretty good job with the ones you picked. Certainly, both Joy and Akeef deserve a round of applause because their profiles are much better than the average profiles on LinkedIn already. So you're already a step ahead of a lot of people. But you guys should be, and here's why. Because you're both owner level and management level. So the expectations for those profiles are certainly higher. So your competition is better. But anyways, very good job. If you have any supplemental questions, follow-up questions, let me know, and I'd be happy to answer them. All right, so we've got a comment here. It's pretty long, but let's read it. From David, it says, Joy, this is what I got to tell you. Always review your CV and cover letter, current update in a professional way. Also check the LinkedIn profile. All right, David is giving her some advice. That is what it is. Okay, so that's not always completely accurate there, but that's all right. I'm not going to debate on that since you didn't ask my opinion. You're just giving her advice. You are welcome to do it. I have no problem with that. All right. Anyone else? Would you like a profile review? Would you like to talk about what's going on? So, for example, Joy said earlier, I'm having trouble getting the interview. When that happens, the next question that I ask typically is this. The job description that you're reading, when you read that, do you read it and go, I'm 100% qualified for that job? I'm 75% qualified for that job, or I'm 50% qualified for that job? Which is it? Because a lot of people I talk to, they get frustrated. They go, man, I read that job description. I was excited about that opportunity to potentially work there. And if they looked at my resume, they would see, or my CV, they would see I'm really qualified really well to do this job. And so they submit their CV or their resume, their application, and they don't even hear back. And that's a clue. Or you hear back right away. You send in your resume, your CV right away, and you get an auto rejection letter right out of the gate. You're welcome, Akeef. It was my pleasure. He said, thank you. It's my pleasure. So here's a couple things for you. If you answer, I'm 100% or close to 100% qualified for that job, I'm really qualified for the job, and I'm not hearing back, typically what it is, one of two things has happened. The first thing is, this happens a lot, and most people, excuse me, my throat's a little dry. I just need to take a drink of water. Okay. What happens a lot is a company or a recruiter and HR person will put up a job listing somewhere on the internet. They'll either put it up on their website, or they'll put it up on ZipRecruiter or Indeed or Project Help You Grow, or wherever they're going to put it up. They'll put it up. They might put it up on LinkedIn, right? It doesn't matter. Wherever it goes up in one spot. Then what happens? It starts to make the rounds on other job boards. So job boards are going, hey, I'm going to pull listings from this place and put it over here. So you might be seeing a job listing that has been advertised on a like LinkedIn or again, Indeed or wherever. But that isn't where the job was originally housed. Now, you as the job seeker have no way to know that. There's no way for you to know, unfortunately, where it was originally placed. This is one of the problems. So you might be reading a job description going, okay, this job is perfect for me. I'm applying to it through this job board, but I'm not getting any response. And I feel disheartened. But in reality, the person who put the job out there never put it on that board. So they're not checking that board's responses. This is why with Project Help You Grow, we don't have anybody submit job lists. The applications don't come to us. They go through us to the job owner. That's how we do it, right? But most job boards are not like that. Why? Because they actually want your data, because If they collect your data, they can sell it to third parties for money. This is one of the things that makes Project Help You Grow different. We don't do that at all. Okay. But because we don't do that, I don't even ask for your data. I don't want it. I just want to connect you directly. We use what we call an API key in my world to connect to some of these job boards, but it goes back to them. It doesn't come to us. Okay. So part of the issue that you have is you're applying to jobs on the wrong job board. And again, empathize and I sympathize because there's no way as a job seeker really for you to know that. Now, if you're applying through a recruiter or directly to the employer on the company's website, then that's not your issue. But if you're applying through job boards, that could very well be your issue. And a lot of people don't ever talk about that and they haven't thought about that. So I just want to bring that to your attention. Okay. It could be that there isn't a problem with you or your submission. Everything could be good, but just could be happening at the wrong place. So what is my advice? To all of you job seekers out there, this is my advice. Whenever possible, talk directly to the recruiter who recruits for that company or go directly to that. Like, okay, you're on ZipRecruiter.com and you're seeing a job listing for, I was about to say Starbucks. I don't know why, but fill in the blank. Bowman Digital Media. We'll pick on my company for a minute. You're going to apply to a company for a job listing on ZipRecruiter.com for Bowman Digital Media. Here's what I want you to do before you take the time to fill out all the paperwork on ZipRecruiter. I want you to go over to BowmanDigitalMedia.com or whatever the company's website is and look for the careers section or the join us page, or you know what I mean? They have these different tabs, right? And look and see if you can apply for the job directly on their website, because that will eliminate the potential of the information you're providing not making it to the employer. Also, because sometimes these job boards, they're copying and pasting. Basically, they're grabbing, duplicating, replicating the jobs out there so they can say that they have all the job listings in the world on their website. I get it, right? But here's the thing. Again, if I didn't submit the job on ZipRecruiter, when I fill the job or it's no longer available, I don't necessarily go up and update all the other job boards and say, hey, this job is no longer available. Take that listing down. In fact, they don't do that. There's no incentive for them to do that because it makes it look like there's less jobs. So not every job you're seeing out there is actually still available. And that's part of the problem. Most of humanity doesn't understand that. Most employees don't understand that that's happening. In fact, I would say that there's a lot of employers out there who don't understand that's happening either. This is very much a recruiting issue in the recruiting world, but there's no monetary incentive to fix it. So it's a headache that unfortunately job seekers just have to deal with. Yeah, that's nice. You could provide some tips. Okay, so, and just know this, also, Eric, every company is I'm sure you know this, right? Every company has their own rules. So just be careful when you're giving your advice. Make sure you're, like I'm saying, there's never one answer, right? There is no one ATS. There is no one, this is the way to do it every single time. You have to understand what the people are trying to accomplish, where they're trying to accomplish it, because things vary from industry to industry. From large company, enterprise companies do it different than medium-sized companies. They do it different than mom and pop shop companies. People with CVs do it different than people with resumes. If you need a sponsorship, I mean, there's so many criterion, but feel free. Advice is welcome here. That's what I'll say. So if you want to give some advice, knock yourself out. All right. If you're applying to the job on the company's website, if it's still listed there, the odds are it's still available, right? Usually people's websites are pretty up to date. Not always, but pretty much that's the case. Okay. So that helps. Now, the other thing is, if you can talk to the recruiter, like for example, we've got an internal recruiter. What does that mean? If you guys aren't familiar with what internal recruiter means, an internal recruiter works inside the company for that company. So they have a direct line of communication with the department manager or with the owner, whoever it is, that's actually looking to fill the position. So Eric would know what type of ATS they use. He would know what way you need to format the resumes or CVs for the company that he represents. When you have an external recruiter, those are like free agents and they don't normally have a direct bead. Now, some of them do. Again, there's all kinds of different ways that people do this. But an external recruiter, and this is one of the things when you're talking to a recruiter, you want to ask them, are you internal or external? Because it changes how you're going to play the game. It changes what information they give you is good, or it might just be their best guess. But now their best guess, if they're professional, they've been doing it for any length of time, is probably still better than yours as a job seeker. So I would typically say follow the advice of most recruiters. Most of them are pretty good and have, the best interest of the job seeker at heart. But remember, internal recruiter is a little different. No offense, Eric, but right, you're working for that company, so you can't necessarily be as transparent as an external recruiter in some cases, because like with salary negotiation advice, I'm not necessarily going to lean heavily on an internal recruiter because they've got a budget that they've got to keep. Okay, they're not going to tell me, hey, you could go over here and make probably more money. That wouldn't. There's, again, everything has advantages and disadvantages. You just have to know where you are on the board to know how to strategize, to use your strategy. But if I'm talking to Eric, I'm a job seeker and I'm interested in a position that he's got open. I'm talking to him and he's trying to help me out. I'm sure he is. He looks like a very nice guy. What is it that I'm going to ask him? Well, one of the things I'm going to ask him straight up, what ATS program do you use? And if you can give me a version number, that would be even better. Why? Because I can go over to the ATS program and I can figure out exactly how to format my resume so that it's ATS friendly. And if he tells me we don't use an ATS, that's great, because now I can make it more visually interesting. Kind of like what I was doing. Let me share my screen again. I'll give you an example. So this is kind of fun. All right. So over on Akeef's, this about section right here. Okay. This actually is set up. Every ATS program that I know of, this is ATS friendly. Okay. It doesn't eyeball nice, but it's ATS friendly. So he could send this as part of his resume and all the words would get picked up. Everything would be recognized. It's good to go. However, as I recommended, it looks a little boring here, right? So I said, let's spice it up. If they're using an ATS like Talao, which, made by Oracle, #1 ATS program used in both the United States and in Europe, I wouldn't want to spice it up. Right? I want to make sure that every character is recognized. I want to make sure that it knows where to put it inside the ATS program when it's deconstructing and reconstructing the resume. That's what I want to make sure. But if Eric tells me, "Hey, we're a team of 50 people. We don't have usually they don't have internal recruiters with companies that size, but right, we're a small family, third generation family owned business. We don't use ATS programs. We do it all manually." Okay, great. Now I can send one that's formatted with some more of my personality in it, right? I can add some lines, and I might use a nice, cool textured paper, print it and bring it over, whatever. But the ATS programs, you have to know which one, if you can ask them which one they use, because then you can make sure you're formatted to follow. What's the minimum font size? Can you use color? Are hyperlinks going to kill you or not? Can you include a photo or not? Again, these are all things that vary not only from region to region, but also ATS program to ATS program. And there's over 10,000 ATS programs out there. So if you can figure out, one of the coolest things that you can ask a recruiter is what ATS program to use, or even better yet, can you give me the formatting rules for your ATS program? And then you can just read it and make sure that your resume is going to be ATS compliant for them, so that when you submit the job application, everything gets read, understood, and you're evaluated for your actual resume, not just dismissed sleight of hand. Remember what I said. If you're not getting the interview and you're getting that rejection letter right away, usually what that is, normally what that is a problem with your CV, your resume was not ATS compliant for their program, and it rejected it because it thinks most of the time that you've submitted a blank resume or you weren't qualified. And it could be the way you formatted the heading section. It could be that you have columns and rows in there, like an Excel spreadsheet. Some of them really struggle with that. It could be you use some color fonts and they have a thing that color, because of the history of the ATS when it first started, there was a lot of people trying to keyword stuff. They would use a white font because it looked like it wasn't there. So it looked like it was invisible ink. And so as a safety measure, some of the ATS programs put in, hey, if you use color fonts, we think you're cheating, and we're just going to dismiss you with, the baby with the bathwater, just to make sure everything's above board. So those automatic rejection letters, when they come instantaneously, it wasn't seen by a human being in the 3 seconds that it took for you to hit send and get the rejection letter, right? So some form of artificial intelligence screened you out. You have to figure out why they screened you out to proceed. But this is why when you can talk to a recruiter, it is a huge advantage, especially if it's an internal recruiter, because like I said, the main advantage of the internal recruiter is they have a direct line of communication with the person that's hiring. And usually those are the ones who are getting the information from the ATS anyways to make sure your application was processed correctly. So they could manually override if you make friends with Eric and you're trying to work at the place that he's hiring for, that's a huge, huge advantage, because if he likes you, he's going to give you good advice, right? The worst case scenario, he might ignore you, but he seems like he's very friendly. He wants to help. So there you go. Any other questions? We're coming to the end of the show. This is an hour show. We got about 7 minutes or so left. I actually haven't even talked about a tip of the day, but we did talk about internal recruiters and external recruiters a little bit. Maybe I'll just go about that. How do you make friends with recruiters? And this is the number one thing that I would suggest. Do not email them. Do not send them a friend connection request and say, can you hire me? Don't come across as desperate. Instead, engage with their content, whether that be like Eric made a comment on the show. Okay. One thing that you could do is respond to his comment and say, hey, Eric, I would love to get some tips from you on ways that I could, do things better. Because Eric has some things he wants to share and he's willing to share them. So it would be really smart if somebody would, respond to Eric and say, hey, yeah, let us know. We would love to hear it. Now, if you do that just once, the odds of Eric sending you a friend request or connecting with you, probably pretty slim, right? But let's say over the next month, the next 6 weeks, Eric was to go out into social media and either make a post, every couple weeks, or, make a comment every day. And you just started to pepper responses to him like once a week, right? Don't you think Eric would go, hey, I kind of like this person. I've seen them a few times. They're friendly. They're not asking me crazy things like, can you hire me right now? Or can you sponsor me to move from this country to that country? All the different things that we get asked every single hour of every single day, right? Eric knows what I'm talking about. Come off as a human being, come across as friendly, come across as interested in what that person wants to talk about. At the end of the day, I don't care what the title of people are. They're people. And everybody wants to be appreciated. People want to feel like they're more than just a meal ticket. Like, I'll tell you where most people fail in my inbox. They treat me like I'm just the next. I'm here to provide them whatever it is that they're looking for, or I'm here to buy whatever it is they're selling. They forget that Ira Bowman is a living, breathing human being. When you cut me, I bleed. When I get kidney stones, like I did this last week, it really hurts, right? I have feelings, at least one. So treat these recruiters like people. And if you want to engage with them and get them to help you, you start by giving in life, right? We want things in life. We all want things. We want help. We want whatever we want. The way to get it is to help. Why do I do Project Help You Grow? Why do I do that? Because I want to help other people. That's why I do it. So I'm not opposed to helping anybody. People call me on the phone to get job search assistance and I don't tell them to just go to my website, I'll actually try and help them right there on the phone, right? I'm one of the few people on the planet with 500,000 followers that puts his phone number out there for the whole world. Anybody can call me. Doesn't mean I want you all to call me. I'm just saying anybody can, right? But here's why I do it, because I want to help. Now, if you come across me sideways with a weird email, with a, like you're using me, likely I just don't respond and you blew it. You had one shot to make your first impression and it came across bad. And trust me, I have a long memory. Recruiters are human beings. They want to help. Recruiting is a business where you can make money, of course. Every job on the planet, hopefully, is there to help you make money. That's why it's a job. Otherwise, it'd be a hobby. Okay. But inside that, there's still only 8 hours a day or whatever people are working. If they're working 10-hour days or 12-hour days, got to help them, right? I used to think that more hours meant I was more manly. Now I know that more hours with my family makes me more manly, right? I just got to do what I got to do to provide for them. And then I want to spend time with them, which, believe me, is a big psychological shift that I had to learn. Counseling helped me with that. There you go. All right. But here's the thing. However many hours they're working, usually they have enough work to fill that time. So we have to pick and choose who we're going to help above and beyond that. If you come across me friendly and 3 other people come across me sideways, the odds are I'm going to help you. Be like Joy and Akeef. It was so much fun to help Joy because I could feel her energy from the other side of the world through the way she was engaging on the show, right? That's why I was excited to help Joy. Yes, again, I said I wasn't going to do it, but here you go. Don't be this dummy. I don't like to be mean to people, but this is just dumb, right? Let's not do stuff like that. Don't treat people like they're spam, right? They're here to buy your product, or they're only valuable if they buy your product. That's not true, right? So if you want to make friends with recruiters, I suggest you do. I've made friends with over 5,000. I have over 5,000 recruiters in my direct connection list on LinkedIn. I did that basically in the year 2018, and I did it on purpose because I launched Project Help You Grow, and I knew that the recruiters were the key to help bringing the employers together with the people who needed the jobs. Those recruiters are super valuable. So I made friends with as many as I could, and I continue to try to help them. Project Help You Grow is the only resource of its kind where recruiters can do it all for free. They don't have to pay anything for any of it. They don't have to pay to post their jobs. They don't have to pay to write and submit blogs, information like Eric wants to submit information to help job seekers. I've got plenty of recruiters who have done that in the past. They come on my show. They find the candidates. They hire the candidates. They don't have to pay for any of it, right? The employers don't. The job seekers don't. Project Help You Grow is 100% ad free. There's no ads on the site. There's no nothing. It's just a free resource. And it's been seen by over 500,000 people. So it gets a lot of visibility too, which is really cool. Anyways, we are at time for this week. Next week is Thanksgiving, so I'm taking next week off. I am not going to be here. I'm going to be, I think, in a hotel room. I might not be in a hotel room at that point. I might be staying at my in-laws. I'm not sure what I'm doing. But either way, I won't be here next week. So the show will take a hiatus. We'll be back the week after Thanksgiving. If you have any job search related questions, we actually haven't shown the website at all today. That is a first. But let's fix that real quick. If you're not familiar with the show, this show, Ask Ira Job Seekers Q&A, I put all the job shows here so you can go back and catalog throughout the history of the show and watch any of the shows. For example, this is the one that I highly recommend if you're looking for a sponsorship or a visa. This is the one. I had an immigration attorney on the show. We did a whole hour session talking to him. He's out of New Jersey. I think he's in New Jersey. He might be New York. But anyways, he's over there on the East Coast. He's an immigrant from Turkey. So he's not only helping people with their migration legal needs, he's also migrated himself. So he's been through the process. Really cool. And He doesn't look like it, but he's been an attorney for over 20 years. So he's blessed with good aging. He looks younger than me, but he's actually a little bit more experienced than me, if you understand what I'm saying there. But here's what I'm talking about. You can go search for a job for you recruiters or employers out there. You can post a job. You can come to the blog. If you're looking for a job, this is the number one place I suggest people go. Not search for jobs. You can find jobs anywhere. There's millions of jobs here on Project Help You Grow. By all means, come here and you get it ad free. But these blogs, I'll teach you in depth. Any question you want answered in the job search space, I've probably, because I've been doing this for 5 years now, I've probably covered it either in a video or in a blog or both. So you can come here. You don't have to log in. You don't have to have an account. This works everywhere around the world. I get asked these questions all the time. I'm in, Ghana, or I'm in the UAE, or I'm in, Calgary, wherever people are watching from. They go, does it work for me where I am? Yes, it works for where you are too. If you can see this show, the website works for you wherever you are. This is one of my favorite articles of 21 is Counterpunching Ageism. I'm sorry, 22. And then one of the newer ones that I put up, did I put it up? Yep, right here. Increase your pay, 3 steps to salary negotiation. A lot of people are changing jobs because they don't know how to negotiate their salary correctly. They make faulty assumptions they're smack of desperation when they're taking the job. And then 6 months to a year later, they go, hey, this ain't working. I need to make more money. And, there's problems. You're back on the job market. So let me teach you how to negotiate your salary real fast in this article, and that will help you out. Anyways, my name is Ira Bowman. This is a weekly show that I run. It's called Ask Ira Job Seeker Q&A. I thank you very much for being with me today, and I'll see you all again next time. Again, we'll be off next week. So the week following Thanksgiving is when we'll have our next show. Stay tuned. LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. You can always go to projecthelpyougrow.com for the free job search, but you can also watch past episodes either on my YouTube channel or on the website itself. Have a great week, and happy Thanksgiving, everybody. BowmanDigitalMedia.com